One of the important concepts that I hope you will find woven throughout OTC 101 is the importance of taking responsibility. And I'm going to talk more about that with a presentation called Blame the Train. Each of us has a choice to go through life with a victim mindset or with a responsibility mindset. When we adopt a victim mindset, we blame, we make excuses, we repeat ineffective behaviors, and we kind of stay stuck, never moving forward because we're just always the victim. When we have a responsibility mindset, we recognize that we have choices in our lives and we are responsible for our lives. And so we make decisions, we learn from our mistakes, and we move forward. All of us are victims with a lowercase v at certain points in times. We're victims when our car won't start, or our printer runs out of ink, or the internet goes out at 11:57 p.m. just as we were about to click submit. We're victims when we get sick, when we have injuries, when a family member is ill, when a natural disaster happens. Bad things happen to all of us all the time. That's kind of part of life. But how we choose to move forward in the face of those problems determines whether or not we take responsibility or we become a victim with a capital V. A victim with a capital V is someone who is simply stuck in their victim mentality. They cannot move forward. They cannot take responsibility. They always want to find someone else to blame and someone else who's done something to them instead of taking responsibility. When we take responsibility, I like to say we become a proactivist. We're proactive. We're taking things on before they become problems. We are owning our mistakes, and there is a lot of freedom and power in taking personal responsibility. Here are some comparisons that kind of will hopefully further illuminate this concept. I like to say that victims try. I'll try to do that. Oh, I'll try to stop by. I'll try to call you. But proactivists do. Those of us who are proactive realize there is no try. And I have the little picture of Yoda up there because if you are a Star Wars fan, you may remember Yoda's famous speech in which he told Luke Skywalker, do or do not. There is no try. When you're trying, you're not fully committed. Victims say, why me? Why do these bad things keep happening to me? What am I doing wrong? Why am I always on the bad end of things? Proactivists say, why not me? Bad things happen to all of us. That's part of the journey. So I'm going to move forward from this bad thing. It was my turn to be rear-ended or to get hurt. It's just kind of part of life. I've got to find a way to move forward and get better. Victims blame. They blame other people and other situations for everything that goes wrong in their lives. Proactivists take responsibility. This thing has happened. How can I move past it and get on with my life? So I'm going to tell you a story about a time that I adopted a victim mindset. And I hope this story will further clarify the idea of taking responsibility. I was working in the tutoring center at OTC at the time this happened, and my supervisor came to me early in the week and said, we have a meeting on Friday at 8 a.m. with the student services advisors, and I need for you to be there, and I need for you to be on time. And I promised her that I would be. But that morning, as I was leaving for work, I was really nervous because I didn't leave home soon enough. And so I was heading down 65 North toward the Chestnut Expressway exit. Some of you may be familiar with that route. And I was really nervous. I was checking my watch. I was checking the car clock. I was checking my phone to see which one gave me the advantage on time because I knew I was potentially not going to make it to that meeting on time. And I was very stressed about that because I promised my boss that I would be there. And sure enough, as I exited off of 65 and I went under the overpass, ding, 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 a train stopped me in my tracks, if you will. And that train was a very real part of my commute many mornings. Now, I will say that since this time, the city has built an overpass there, so the train no longer stops traffic. But at that point, I often got stopped by the train on my way to work. So I sat there watching the train whiz by, thinking about damage control. What was I going to say when I got to my meeting late? I walked in and I said, "I'm so sorry I'm late. I got caught by the train." Do you hear my victim mentality? I should have walked into that meeting and said, "I'm so sorry I'm late. I didn't leave home soon enough." But instead of saying that, I chose to blame the train. And the problem with blaming the train is that I don't control the train schedule. I don't really know the train schedule. And so if I let the train be the reason I'm late to work, I don't have to make any changes. It's the train's fault. It's not my fault. I've actually timed that train, or back then I did, and it was 3 to 5 minutes at most. So if I'm being a proactivist, I plan an extra 5 minutes in my morning commute in case the train comes by. But by blaming the train, I continue to get the same results, being late to work. Until I was ready to say, I need to take responsibility and leave home sooner, which I know sounds so simple, but until I was really ready to admit that, I was going to be stuck in victim mentality. The first semester that I taught OTC 101, at the end of the semester in a seated class, I overheard one of my students say to his classmate, "You know, after taking this class, I'm so done with my friends and their lame excuses." So let's explore some lame excuses. How about this one? I didn't have time. I didn't have time to do that. I didn't have time to turn my assignment in. I didn't have time to do the task at work. Is it truly that we don't have time or we don't make time? I think a victim doesn't have time, but a proactivist says, I have the same 24 hours in every single day that everybody else does. I need to make time to do the things that need to be done. Here's another lame excuse. It's been a crazy day. Oh, things are so crazy. I'm busy, busy, busy. Yes, all of us are busy and a lot of us have crazy days. I understand that. But the proactivist realizes life gets crazy. I've got to set my priorities and make sure that I don't let the craziness keep me from accomplishing my goals. How about this one? Oh, I've been meaning to turn that in. I've been meaning to do that. Well, if you truly had been meaning to do something, I think it would have already been taken care of. Every day, each of us makes many, many choices. When we choose to respond as a victim, we blame, we make excuses, and we get the same negative results again and again. When we choose to respond as a proactivist, we take responsibility for our lives, and that means we absolutely have the power to change our lives.